Hello and welcome to Wellness Wednesday. Today we're going to talk about one of our favorite topics, which is listening to pulse. And the pulse really tell us everything. They are the secrets of the universe. They tell us where we are. They tell us how we are in relationship to universal energy. And they tell us if there is a project, the cause of our project. So today we're going to go over the basics, and I'm inviting you to always listen to your own pulse, and if you're practicing with someone else, to also just place your hands and just take in what's going on with the person. So here we go. You're going to use these 3 fingers, and we're going to place them on the inside of the wrist like so. And here's the little nudge, the little wrist bone. You go on the wrist bone and you slide off it like this, and then go up against it. So the nudge, you slide off and you go up into it. And then you place your middle finger and your ring finger right next to it, so that they are aligned, not that one is sticking out further than the other. They're all in line. And so we're going to listen superficial and deep. So this is the 2 ways we're listening: superficial and deep. We're going to listen lightly, so there's no pressing, because then you won't feel the pulse. It's very lightly, superficial and deep. And so today we're just going to listen between the difference between the right side and the left side of our body. So take a breath here, superficial, and then deep. We don't have to stay there very long. We go in and out. So superficial, take a breath, and then deep. Okay, that's it. Now let's listen to the other side. Again, using the index, the middle, and the ring. Make sure you're aligning them properly so not one finger is sticking out. And then we're going to listen superficial and deep. And listen for the difference in the quality between the right side and the left side. If you've had a busy day, maybe your right side is louder, because the right side tells us about the lifestyle. And if you have older or genetic trauma, some genetic baggage that you're carrying, then you may feel your left side louder. So again, superficial and deep, and superficial and deep. If you want to check the other side one more time, just to feel the difference. And you may already start to feel the transformation, because just when we're listening to the pulse, the energy already begins to change and our body starts to change. So that's how quickly we change. I mean, that's so wonderful and exciting. And yes, we can change any project really. As we're changing the energy, the body will follow. Okay, so the side that speaks to you, we're gonna hold 2 locations. We're gonna place one hand over the shoulder and one hand in the groin. So go to the side that feels more in need. So your pulse being either too quiet or too loud. They're like children playing, and if they're too loud, they're asking for attention, and if they're too quiet, they're asking for attention too. So just take a breath here on the side that is talking to you more. Dropping the shoulders. So we're only going to practice the side right now that is more in need. Let's take one more breath. And then let's place our hand on the sits bones. So this is a quick supervisor flow. The supervisor flow helps the side that you're working on. So it unloads the side that you're treating, so that the other side can come up. So right and left are being balanced. And we are in harmony when right and left side are in balance, are in harmony. And for this reason, you can never go wrong. If you practice the other side, it will unload that side and bring up the other side. So that can be very effective as well. That's why when the pulse is too quiet, you want to you can work either on that side to bring up the energy, or you can work on the other side to unload the other side so that the quiet side can come up. Maybe it's intimidated and it needs to come up. So remember that Jinshin is an art, and there's not a right or wrong way. It's you finding what works for you, and also really listen to your intuition. So there's no trying to or doing with the pulse. We really allow the information from the universe to shine through us. So let's take one more breath here. And then let's go back to listen to the pulse and see if it has changed. So we're going to listen. Here's the nudge. We're going to slide off the nudge and go back into it. Placing the 3 fingers together, we're going to listen to superficial and deep, superficial and deep. And then the other side. And so see if there's a change in either the right side or the left side, and just make an observation. There's no judgment. Just listening for the transformation which occurs so quickly. And even if you're just listening to your pulse, you're giving yourself a little treatment. So there's one more level I would like to share with you. And with our index finger, we hear the chest line. With our middle finger, we hear the waistline. And with the ring finger, we hear the hip line. So let's listen again. So now that we are aware if we need more help on the right side or the left side, we're now going to listen to the chest line, the waistline, and the hip line. So again, placing your fingers together like this. Listen superficial and deep. Superficial and then deep. So overall, do you feel mostly chest line, waistline, or hip line on the left side? And then listen to the other side. So here you may get a different reading. Maybe if on one side you feel more chest line, maybe on this side you feel more waistline. That's very possible. So just make an observation of that. And today just take an inventory if you need mostly chest line, waistline, or hip line. Okay, very nice. Superficial and deep. Superficial. So you can stay here for a few moments, superficial, take a few breaths, and then go deep. Do the same, take a few breaths. Or you can move in quickly, in and out, in and out, in and out. There's not very long we need to stay. We don't want to overthink it either, because as you're feeling it, immediately your intuition will also talk to you, and it's very important to listen to that. So let's place both our hands on our 11s, on our shoulders. If you have a hip line need, the 11s will be helpful. The hip line tells us about our connection to earth. It tells us about our physical body and anything physical going on, helping to clear the hips, so that we would feel on the ring finger. So just by holding the shoulder, we're clearing the hip line, the chest, the waistline, and the chest line. One more time. Take a breath here. Exhale completely. The superficial pulse has to do with our exhale, and the deep pulse has to do with our inhale. The superficial pulse tells us about everything that's happening on the front of our body, the energy down the front. And then the deep pulse tells us everything on the back in our inhale. That's another level we're listening to pulse. Take one more breath. Exhale. And then let's move to the middle of our neck, SEL 12, which helps to clear the waistline. So if you felt mostly waistline, you may feel some tightness in your 12. You can go closer to the spine or go more lateral. And again, make an observation about the balance between right and left. Where is more tightness? Where is more need on the right side or left? And does that correspond with what you felt in your pulses? The waistline has to do with our mind, tells us about our mind, our intellect. It's our executive functioning. It's our human beingness. It's us being here in this world with our worldly desires and helping our digestive system, digestion of food and a digestion of thoughts. Very nice. And then let's hold our fours. If you felt mostly chest line, the fours are going to help. SEL4, which is at the base of the skull, right here. And again, observe, get to know your right side and your left side and what feels more in need to you. And again, if that corresponds with what you felt in the pulse. All I can say is that the pulse never lies, and we can get all the information we need from the pulse. So I would like to build on this with you, listening to our pulses. Another note about holding the fours, clearing the chest line. The chest line helps our emotional system. It brings in our creativity and our child, our little child, our child ego state. So let's take another breath here. And now let's listen one more time to the pulse and see if the energy is flowing in the right direction. By now you probably will feel a big change in the pulse. So the pulse really tells us where we are, and observe if you are more in rhythm now with universal energy. So we will build on this subject next week, and in the meanwhile I'm inviting you to listen to your own pulse, listening to a friend's pulse or anybody that you can get your hands on. There's so much to learn within the pulses, and yeah, this is a really big subject. So thank you for joining, and I'll see you all soon.